Hi everyone, I'm Kevin. I'm a contractor CFO and COO, and all that means is I help contractors make more money with less work, less admin headache, more fun, and more growth for their business. So let's get into today's topic: a new contractor business advice. Let me see if I can say that again. New contractor business advice. All right, let's get into it here. Whoop, I'm going off the screen. New contractor business advice. First, who am I? Like, why should you even listen to me? I'm a contractor CFO and COO, meaning I help you make more money. So, whatever I charge you, my goal is to make sure that you bring more than that in revenue or net profit. Like, I should be a net positive to your business by you choosing to bring me in and work with me. All right. I do small business tax and accounting. That's really the core of everything that we do here. I'm an enrolled agent, meaning I can represent taxpayers before the IRS, just like a CPA. I just didn't want to go through all the other CPA crap that doesn't really pertain to a lot of small businesses. So I I can sit for the CPA exam. I just haven't yet. I also became an enrolled agent so I could help small businesses lower their taxes, right? Proactive tax planning, like throughout the year. There's a lot of things you can do to save money, but you got to be on top of it. You can't just wait to the end of the year and start scrambling, figuring out what you can write off between Christmas and New Year's, all right? Um, and I'm former insurance premium auditor, meaning I used to be the guy that would show up. I've calculated it's been well over 1,000 contractors where I've shown up at their homes or their businesses, asked for a bunch of payroll reports, 1099s, certificates of insurance, all that crap. I write up a report, leave, and then you get a huge insurance bill usually in the mail. So sorry, but what that means is it does give me a lot of insight because I did meet with so many contractors. I have a lot of insight into how their operations work, into their financials, into their tax standing, and all that kind of stuff. So, I've done a little bit of everything, and I feel like there's a lot I can offer to help people. Okay, new contractor business advice. Let's get started. So first, determine what you want. Do you want a one-man business? Do you want to be the one that's doing all the work yourself? You're bidding the jobs, you're doing the estimates, all of that kind of stuff, and you're doing the sales, the marketing, everything. Do you want just a one-man business? There's a lot of advantages to that. You don't have to pay other people to do the work. You can control yourself most of the time. You can get out of bed, get to the job site, do the work, do it well, do it correctly. Um, you're, yeah, you just don't have to manage other people, right? It's very streamlined, straightforward. You don't have to have a whole lot of equipment or work trucks or all that kind of stuff. You don't even have to have an office. Like you can just work straight out of your home or out of your truck. It's pretty straightforward. So the only thing is it is like income limited because you're basically trading your time for money. You're limited by the amount of work that you can physically do. So, or do you want to build a team? Do you want to do it so that you have maybe just one crew and you do one project at a time, but while they're working on that project, you kind of oversee it and you're bidding on these other projects. And then once that one's done, you move on to the next one and the next one and the next one. Again, that can be pretty streamlined, but you're managing people. You got to hire people. Maybe you got to train some people to do the work, all that kind of stuff. There's advantage to that as well. Or do you just want to sub everything out? Are you thinking that you want to be a general contractor and you're not going to have any crew and you're just going to sub out all the specialties and you're going after like really big projects? There's nothing wrong with any of these approaches. I just want you as a new contractor making a conscious decision that this is the type of business you want to operate because I've seen it too often where people don't like the business that they're in because things just started happening, they started reacting and thinking they had to do all this stuff and all of a sudden they're they've got a huge team going, a huge crew, and they're not making a ton of money. They're making the same amount of money they made as just a one man show, because they added all this other headache on and they didn't know how to manage it or streamline it as it grew, and they didn't get their pricing quite right. And they were just getting jobs and they're excited to see the jobs coming in and they realize, why am I doing all this? I've got all these people, all this headache, and I'm making the same amount of money as I did when I was just a one man showing up at a job site, clocking in and doing a bunch of work myself. So just figure out what type of business you want to build and then work towards that business. Also, if you're a one man business, there's a lot of other things to consider. Like you need to start putting away for retirement. Like you don't have like what happens if you get injured? and you can't work anymore or for a period of time. Like there's a lot of financial considerations. Like it's fine to be a one man business, but then you got to plan for if you can't do the work. If you got a team and you get hurt as the owner, like you still got people to go out there and do the work for you, and maybe you can bring somebody else in to help for a little while for a few things that maybe you can't do. Or if you sub everything out, yeah, maybe you have to, you get hurt, you can hire a project manager, or if you at least have a team and sub everything out, you might start building an actual business where there's like processes and systems in place so that you you don't have to be, you're not as critical of a piece in the puzzle for the business to keep operating. So you start building something that you can either sell or start working less on when you want to retire, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of different advantages um, to building a team. Just do that proactively instead of reactively. All right. When in doubt, bid higher. This is a huge thing. I just talked about pricing last week about, should you go in and be like low pricing, be like the low price guy. I went into all the dangers of that. But when in doubt, if you're not sure what your pricing is, bump up the pricing. All right. Bid a little bit higher. All right. Also, avoid the low price death spiral. I kind of went over that last week, where if you start going off low prices, those customers will then start referring, by word of mouth to their friends who also know exactly what they paid, and they're specifically calling you because they want that low price too for themselves. And then you're just kind of stuck in this, like you're losing money on every job, and you're getting more and more of those jobs where people are expecting you to lose money on it. They don't know you're losing money, then or maybe some of them suspect, maybe I don't know how this guy is only charging this much. It seems a little low, but whatever, that's what he's charging. But you're just going to go into like this low price death spiral where you're going to go out of business. Just educate them of all the costs that go into it, and if you want those specifics, go into last week's video. Contractor business pricing low, and just build your reputation with your customers. If you consistently deliver, if your prices are a little bit higher than others, but you consistently deliver quality, and you do exactly what you say you're going to do, or you over deliver because you have enough margin in there that you can throw in a little extra, for that customer, that's going to get around. People are going to want to work with you. They're going to know that, hey, this guy shows up, he's on time, his crew always shows up. They do excellent work. They go above and beyond. They take care of other stuff that wasn't even in the proposal, because some other contractor blew it. We know we can count on this guy, so we don't mind paying him that because he's not a headache. We like working with him. He's easy to work with. That's the kind of reputation you want to build, especially as a new contractor. All right, more advice. Pay more for better results the first time. I can't stress how huge this is. And this is probably one of the hardest things to do when you're first starting out, because you might feel like you don't have the financial resources. You don't have money. You feel like, where's it all going to come from? How am I going to pay this? How am I going to make this? Well, hey, that goes back to your pricing. If you're bidding too low, that's kind of why you don't want to bid too low. But pay more for better results. What do I mean? Better employees generate more revenue at lower cost. I've heard this a lot recently from Alex Ramosi, but it's something that I've always had in the back of my mind as well. Like you're going to get better work than if you pay somebody just 10% more, 15% more above market or whatever. That person's going to work so much better, save you headache. They're going to go above and beyond. They're going to generate more revenue for the company because you don't have to micromanage them or babysit them. It's not like they're a man child over there that you got to babysit, and they're like taking an hour and a half lunch breaks and not getting their work done at the job site, or they just don't have the good manners when they're working in the home with the customer. You just pay a little bit more, or a lot more. I don't care, but pay more for better employees that will actually stick around as well too. Then they're not going to just leave because somebody else offered them 25 cents an hour more, and they're too afraid to talk to you about it. Like just pay them more and see the results show up in your business. And you have to be careful with this because you don't want to like start doing revenue share or something. You don't want to create a compensation structure that could hamstring you later when you're trying to scale the business. But there's something to be said about paying a little bit more for somebody, a higher quality employee for your business. Also, and another thing, and this is my wheelhouse here, good pay for good bookkeeping done right the first time. Like don't pay for it twice. I can't tell you how many clients we've had come to the firm I'm working at now because They said, I don't know, I haven't heard from my bookkeeper, or I'm not sure they're doing it right, or I never hear get feedback from them or whatever. And we open up their QuickBooks and they just their first thing we go is to the balance sheet and look and see if there's a bunch of negative numbers in the balance sheet. And oftentimes there are, and that just means the bookkeeper didn't know what they're doing. So pay for good bookkeeping the first time, because nothing's worse than paying for somebody you think they say they're a bookkeeper. You don't know any better because you don't know that much about accounting. You're paying them all year, get to the end of the year, and then your accountant, your CPA who's doing your taxes tells you, hey, your books are a mess. We got to do like nothing's reconciled and we got to do this before we can prepare the tax return because we don't know if we can trust these numbers or not. They're way off. And so now you got to pay the CPA to do all the bookkeeping. Like just avoid that. Find a good bookkeeper. And maybe you have somebody who is a very good worker and good in the office and maybe they just are weak in the bookkeeping area. If that's the case, let me know and I can certainly work with them. If they're willing to learn, I can teach them. We can rectify that. I'm not saying just kick out whoever's doing your bookkeeping right away if it's being done wrong. Sometimes it might just be a little bit of education, but pay for a good bookkeeper. And if you don't know, ask me and I will let you know if they know what they're doing or not, just based off what I can see in the financial statements. All right. Also, save 10,000 or more on taxes your first year and every year. So again, don't be the person going for the low price, tax preparer that's only charging $200 and you don't know if it's kind of legit or not, or you go into the H&R Block and you've got I mean, yeah, if all you have is a W-2, great, go to H&R Block. I don't care. If you're running a business, don't go to H&R Block. Like you need somebody that actually does business returns and knows how to proactively plan for those taxes, how to mitigate all those taxes. Now, I've seen it time and time again. That's kind of one of the reasons I got into this business anyways, was going around as an insurance auditor and seeing businesses structured in a way that I knew they had to be paying 20, 30, $40,000 more in taxes than they had to. And I'm like, why? Why are they doing this? So pay for a good CPA up front and tell them I want to save money on taxes. Am I the right legal entity? Am I the right tax structure? How do I make sure I get all the deductions, all that kind of stuff? And if they don't want to deal with that, then find somebody else. All right. Pay good money for a CPA. Don't pay 9,000 for a CPA necessarily, unless they're actually generating like $18,000 more for you, then okay, that makes business sense. But you get what I'm saying. Also, this is huge. Figure out how everyone will hose you. Yeah, figure out how everyone else is going to take advantage of you, and then put processes in place to make sure that can't happen. Or take the time to educate yourself so you're aware of all the pitfalls. And it's not necessarily that everyone's out to get you, but a lot of times it's just because you're ignorant and you haven't taken the time to educate yourself, or you didn't, or your professionals were too busy to take the time to educate yourself so you could make on the fly decisions. And you needed to make a decision, you couldn't get a hold of your attorney or you couldn't get a hold of your CPA or your insurance agent, and you just did something, and then it comes back to bite you and you cost you $10,000 or $5,000 or whatever, right? Figure out how people will hose you. So yeah, arm yourself with knowledge, learn, learn. I've got free courses in the school.com group that I have, Bulletproof Advantage, links in the description. But there's tons of free content in there for you to figure out basic accounting, basic tax kind of stuff, basic insurance. So so you know what to look out for. All right. Yeah, like I said, there's accounting, there's tax stuff, there's insurance, there's legal stuff, all that stuff. Like arm yourself with some knowledge. You need at least basic knowledge, because how are you, if you don't even know anything about accounting, how are you going to know if you're talking to a good accountant or not? How do you know if your bookkeeper is good or not? Right? How do you know what to even look for in a financial? Do you even know what a financial statement is and what you should be looking for? All right. So just very basic stuff. I'm not saying you have to be an expert, but know enough so that you can start judging, get a sense of, is this person a good person or a bad person for the business? All right. And I'm not saying attorneys are bad people for your business, but I am saying that maybe an attorney's trying to sell you on something super complex that maybe your business doesn't need yet because the risk isn't there. You don't have anything to lose yet. Same thing with insurance, same thing with tax and accounting. All right. You don't need to go super crazy right away. It's somebody that's trying to tell you to go to some super complicated thing and you're not sure why. That's caused to, if they can't explain why and how it's going to save you money or make you more money down the line, then Pause. All right. That's all I'm saying. All right. How to get more help? Join my free group for contractors. There's free resources and tools for your business. Chat with other contractors, exchange ideas. That's the whole point of it. It's kind of like a Facebook group, but beefed up a little more. Like I said, there's free courses on tax, accounting, insurance, legal issues. You can comment if you want more content like this, or if you have any specific questions, you can comment in the YouTube thing. But really, I pay a lot more attention to the group because you've taken the time to actually put your name in there, introduce yourself, all that kind of stuff. And I spend a lot more time in the group than I do specifically on YouTube. So the link is in the description below, and get back to work.